Each week in this course, you're going to be doing a homework assignment and a quiz. These will be listed typically under the calendar, and so you'll be able to see when the homework assignments are coming up and when the quizzes are coming up. So, for example, here you can see by 10 a.m. on April 6th, which is a Monday, I'm expecting you to complete a homework assignment. Here's the name of the file I'm expecting you to complete. And in addition, I'm expecting you to complete a quiz. Each week, I will also be putting a video description of the homework into a file like this. These will be located inside of the lecture materials for the week. And you can see I put a link here for this video here. So there's also a few notes in this file, which I can just briefly walk through. So in addition to doing the quizzes and the homework, there is some reading that you should do. This week, I'd like you to read Chapter 1 of Core Java for the Impatient and to skim Chapter 2 as well as the first couple hundred pages of the textbook, so through Section 1.2. I just want you to skim those. So it's not important to read all the details in those chapters, but it's nice to get a sense of what's there and also to have a place you can go back and refer to if you should need it. There's also a quick read on here from IBM about Eclipse that you should check out. So when you're uploading homework, I have some slides here to sort of walk you through that process. I will actually do it interactively in a sec. And finally, some comments just about how to send questions in email or posting on the forum. It's very important that if you have any kind of problem in programming, that you're very specific in your request. If you simply say, I have a problem, I can't run it or something like that, I can't help you. So we need to know exactly what's going on. A screenshot is helpful if you're having any kind of installation problem, or if you're having problem with coding, I need to know specifically what the problem is. Again, preferably a screenshot or copy and paste the actual error message. Often line numbers are significant. So again, a screenshot that includes the line numbers as well as the error message, the specific error message can be very helpful. Or it's sometimes helpful just to send me your entire Java file. So that's something you may not want to send to the whole class. You can email me and I can take a look. I'll post a response to the forum. So the quiz will be short answer or multiple choice quizzes. They'll be done in D2L. And this first quiz is very short. It's only 3 questions and it's just over basic programming. No real background is assumed. The examples will be given in Java, but I'm not asking you specific questions about Java syntax or anything like that. So as a basic programming quiz. And you can see that in addition here, on April 8th, a second homework assignment is due. So you can see it's called My First Homework for 300 and My First Homework for 300 Part 2. So in order to complete these homeworks, what you're going to do is go to, well, for the quizzes, obviously go to the quiz tab here and complete the quiz. You'll see it listed. Note that these are time quizzes. You only get one chance. So I suggest you wait until the end, the night before, for example, after you've done the homework to do the quiz. You can do it whenever you like, obviously, but again, you only get one shot at the quiz and they are timed. The submission here is where you'll go to actually submit your homework. And so the way this works is you can click here and see the homework assignment. The homework assignment says complete the functions in the named file, see the instructions in the file. So the file is named here, My First Homework. So what you're going to want to do is go to Eclipse and find the file. It's actually, we're going by sections of the textbook, so we're starting off in ALGS 1.1, and you can find the file here, My First Homework for 300. If you don't see it there, you could just go on to the next section of the textbook and see what you find. Okay, my homeworks all start with my, so that tells you that it's a homework file. We're not doing all of the homework files listed here, so don't start doing everything. But you can see sort of the homework listed. So we'll be doing my first homework for 300. So you can fire up the file in Eclipse and you can walk through it, okay? So what you're gonna do when you're done with the homework, so what we're gonna do is edit this file, save your result, make sure it all works. And then when you're done with the homework, what you're gonna do is take it and drag it and drop it onto the submission folder. So let me just show you how that works. So what you do on D2L is you say, I want to add a file. You say from my computer, and now you get this space where you can drop. So I'm just going to go over here, take that, drag it, drop it, add, and submit. Submission was successful. Yay, I'm so happy. All right, so that's how you're going to do the homework. You can submit multiple times. I will grade the last one that you submit. So I note the deadlines are firm. We won't have any late homework here. So by 10 a.m. you need to have the homework done. Okay, so that is how you're going to do the homework. So let's walk through what these homework assignments have in them. So the first homework assignment, it says, here's a skeleton file. You're going to edit the sections marked to do. You may also edit the main function. So, but you shouldn't edit anything else. Oh, by the way, here I'm going to, just to make more room here, I'm closing the package explorer. I just want to point out, you can close it here. You can also make the package explorer disappear, which can get frustrating. If you make the package explorer go away completely, what you can do is, you see here it's gone. Ah, I lost my package explorer. Where did it go? So you can get it back by going to Window, Perspective, and then Reset Perspective. And it'll just reset this to the factory default. So this is where everything was when Eclipse first fires up. So there you can see. So I'll just minimize that and I can get rid of these. And here's the program. So, okay. Again, this is a skeleton file for the homework. We're just changing the to-dos. You're not going to change anything else in this file. And in particular, you cannot change the declaration of a method. So if you have a method like this, don't change the return type. Don't change the number of arguments. Don't change the name of the method. If you do any of those things, you will get 0 points for the entire homework. The main reason for this is I'm going to auto grade your homework. And if you change these things, I cannot compile it typically, and your program simply, I just won't be able to analyze your code at all. So make sure you don't edit these parts of the code. You're meant to leave them alone. The functions are each meant to be self-contained. So you're not supposed to use other functions or other classes. You're not supposed to use hash sets, array lists, or anything else. You're not supposed to use anything except what is here. And each of the functions should go through the argument array at most once. So unless I specify otherwise. So I will let you use one function from Java. It's called math.abs that computes the absolute value. You can also write the absolute value as an if-else statement, but the absolute value is a handy sort of function. Just takes one argument, which is a number, and returns its absolute value. Okay, one thing I'll point out is you can see this is formatted in a funny way. This is what we call JavaDoc. And if you go down here, you can see the actual output formatted. It may be slightly more readable in this style, so you can look at it. Also note that you can move these window pieces around. So for example, I just drag this and drop it, and it'll move. And you can, of course, adjust the size of these things. So if you want to see this thing sort of in top to bottom, there you go. So there you can see this is a skeleton file for the homework, etc. So whenever you click in a function, you'll see the documentation for that function. So the first function you're expected to complete is called minValue. MinValue takes an array, and you can assume that the array is non-empty and it has no duplicates, you're required to go through the array exactly once and not call any other functions. This is some examples of what this function's meant to do. So if you call the min value on a singleton array, that's an array with one element, then you should get the value of that element. If you have an array with many things, then you return the smallest one. So in this case, 1 is the smallest element. In this case, -7. In this case, -13. In this case, -13. So these are just examples showing you possible return values. The stub function here is just returning a random number, so it's not going to work. So if I run this thing, oops, it's not doing the right thing. So what's happening over here? I've written tests for you. So the test, if you scroll down, you'll see a main method. Here's the main method, and what it's doing is testing this min value function. So the details of how the test function works aren't important, but I think you should be able to get an intuitive idea here. So the string of numbers here is being converted into an array, and then we're using that array to invoke the min value function and to see what the result is. So you can see in this case I'm expecting -7, and I actually got something else. What I'm returning is a random number, so it's not a surprise. It's almost always going to be wrong. With high probability, it will be wrong. Okay, so that's the min value function. The next function you're going to complete is called min position. This returns the position of the minimum value of the array, and here we're going to use a zero indexed array. So this is in the case of a single element array, the min position will always be 0 because 0 is the index of the first element. In this example, the second example, I have the minimum element here is -7. So its index is 0, 1, 2. Here, the minimum element's at the beginning. Here it's at the end. And so that index is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's what we're ending up with here. So again, this function is meant to return the position of the minimum element. And again, the function is meant to be self-contained. Do not call any other functions. Only one loop. Go through the array exactly once. Likewise here, distance between min and max. So what we're asking you to do is to return the distance between the minimum element and the maximum element. So here, if I have a singleton array, well, the min is the max. They are the same thing. Therefore, the distance between them is 0. Here I have an array where the minimum element is -7. That's at index 0, 1, 2. The maximum element is 11. That's at index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so the distance between them is 5 minus 2, which is 3. Okay, so this is what you're meant to do. And there's some examples here of how to, for testing. So you can see things that I'm expecting. So the way I recommend that you do the homework is pick a function, start editing it, and make sure you're editing in Eclipse. Don't edit somewhere else and then try and paste your answers in. You will get a whole slew of errors and it will be sad. And what you want to do is make sure each function is running and functions before you move on to the next one. So you can see when I have red ink here, the file will not run. So if you try to run it, it's not going to succeed. So you need to make sure that the file actually compiles in order to be able to run it at all. And so if any function is not compiling, the entire thing will not run. So it's very important just to work on one at a time. So if you're working on some function, you can just get it to compile like this. So if you have a bunch of code in here, I don't know, it's all messed up. This is my sketch. Well, what you can do is say, well, I don't want to delete all this, but I just want to get my function to compile. And Eclipse has a nice feature for this called toggle comment. So when you toggle comment, it will comment out a line. So if you have a whole bunch of code that you don't want to deal with right now, instead of deleting it, you can just toggle comment. And it works both ways. So if you toggle the comment, it'll come back. Okay, so that's obviously you can just type in these characters as well, but it's sometimes easier to, particularly for a block of code, to do it that way. So your goal is to get each function to work, do them one at a time, do them in order, and then submit when you're done.